It always sucks seeing a show come to its end, but sometimes the creator wants some kind of continuation, like a spin-off. And some spin-offs surpass its predecessor, while others kind of crash and burn. But every now and again, there's one spin-off that just didn't receive any attention or hype. I mean, who knows, maybe they could have been good if they were made. So today, we're going to take a look at some obscure spin-offs of kid shows. Some that only had a few episodes and others that didn't even make it through production. And I am going to cheat a little bit by adding some quote-unquote teen shows that were on Nickelodeon, but still. This is 10 obscure spin-offs of kid shows.
Fairly Odd Parents crash Nebula. In the 5th season of Fairly Odd Parents, an entire episode was dedicated to Crash Nebula, an outcast teenager who has to deal with growing up whilst also being a superhero. The origin featured very similar tropes to that of other superheroes and had a classic comic book feel to it. While the character Crash Nebula was featured in the Fairly Odd Parents 1 or 2 times, Butch Hartman actually had plans to make it its own series. After much speculation, Hartman confirmed in 2006 that the project was cancelled and the series was not going to be made. In fact, a Crash Nebula movie was also considered, but was rejected for having too many similarities to Sky High. Hartman finally got his superhero show in the end, however, when he made Danny Phantom, a show that definitely deserves a reboot or a spin-off.
Lizzie McGUIRE, What's Stevie Thinking? Dedicated fans of Lizzie McGUIRE would take note that Lizzie's best friend, Miranda, was absent from the show's final episodes. According to the show, Miranda was on a vacation with her family, but in reality, actress Lelaine was working on a spin-off series called What's Stevie Thinking? The show is about Miranda, her sister Stevie, who would take the lead role, and their family working at a zoo in Australia. And while the show never made it to television, Selena Gomez was to make her Disney Channel debut way before The Wizards of Waverly Place, when she was casted as Miranda's sister Stevie.
Ned's Declassified High School Survival Guide. In the original Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, the characters were all in middle school dealing with school life and adolescence. Ned Bigby, the main character, would give his tips and tricks on how to deal with these issues and essentially survive school. Naturally, it would only make sense to continue the show but have the characters be in high school. Devin Werkheiser signed on to a development contract with Nickelodeon and the first pilot episode was actually shot. Unfortunately, the series wasn't picked up by Nickelodeon and it has stayed that way since, as the cast have moved on to different things. Daniel Curtis was working on Zeke and Luther, and it was unknown if Lindsay Shaw had even signed up at all. On a now private YouTube video, Devin Werkheiser confirmed that the series would not be continuing, with budget issues being stated as the main concern.
The Amanda Show, Moody's Point. Remember that one miniseries in The Amanda Show that was actually a parody of teen dramas? That was actually supposed to be a thing. We were supposed to get an actual ending for the cliffhanger. For those who don't know, Moody's Point was about a girl named Moody who has a father with a missing toe, a mother who's stuck in a hot air balloon, and a mysterious love interest who questions everything.
Sternum, is anything wrong?
Is anything right?
Dan Schneider pitched the idea to Nickelodeon, but it was never greenlit. I tried hard to convince Nickelodeon to turn Moody's Point into a real full-fledged TV series, but for whatever reason they resisted, and I finally gave up, said Schneider. He also said that the show was going to be something like Zoe 101, but with more comedy. The last episode involved Moody finding out that she was switched at birth, and her parents are not really her parents. The series has since been left on that cliffhanger, with the cancellation of The Amanda Show.
Kablam! Stewie the Dog Boy. Kablam was a sketch comedy show on Nickelodeon that would often feature short films, skits, and segments. Stewie the Dog Boy was one of these animated shorts on Kablam, and it was about a dog who attempted to go to school by dressing up and behaving like a normal kid. The short was actually planned for its own TV series for Nickelodeon. However, due to Disney's cartoon Teacher's Pet premiering around the same time and having almost the same plot, the series was cancelled due to concerns involving their similarities. Due to its obscurity, not much is really known about what the show had to offer other than its actual premise.
iCarly. Gibby. If you know Dan Schneider, you know that he's made spin-off after spin-off after spin-off. And it's cool that he cares about these characters and wants to continue their story. Or he wants to continue with a new show but in the same universe. It's pretty cool of Dan. After the success of iCarly, 2 spin-offs were to be made. One that actually happened involved Sam from iCarly and Kat from Victorious, living together and starting their own babysitting service. The show was cancelled after a little over a year, due to many issues involving money and scandals. Finally, the more obscure one was the proposed spin-off involving the character Gibby. According to the iCarly wiki, it was about Gibby working at a recreational center, where he becomes a mentor to 4 offbeat middle school students. Dan Schneider even tweeted about the first episode of Gibby, and about how much fun he had watching Noah Monk's performance. Sadly, the pilot remains unaired and the series has not been picked up by Nickelodeon, and has since been confirmed to be cancelled.
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Underfist. This series was supposed to be a spin-off of Cartoon Network's hit TV show, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The show was to be about an unusual team of friends that included Jeff the Spider and Fred Fredburger, and it was to be centered around them saving the world from monsters. Although the show did have a pilot episode called Underfist Halloween Bash, the series was ultimately cancelled due to Maxwell Adams' contract with Cartoon Network expiring during the time of the series' development. However, due to the credits of Halloween Bash, it can be assumed that more characters and episodes were to be made.
Clarissa Explains It All and Clarissa Now. In the early 90s, Nickelodeon had a lineup of pre-teen programming for SNCC, their Saturday night teen-centric block. One of them was Clarissa Explains It All, a show about a young teenager named Clarissa going through adolescence and the daily struggles that comes with it. As time passed on, actress Melissa Joanne got older, and Nickelodeon had to cancel the show for a new teen series with a new, younger star. However, Nickelodeon did try to continue Clarissa Explains It All with a follow-up spin-off called Clarissa Now. It was about our female lead now going to college and interning at a newspaper station in New York City. The pilot is available on YouTube, but it was the only episode ever produced. The show was apparently much darker by choice, and many of the original fanbase just didn't click with this spin-off.
Rugrats Preschool Days and The Carmichaels. Rugrats was one of Nickelodeon's most popular and longest running TV shows. It's not that surprising that some spin-offs were to be made in order to continue the success of the original shows, but also in order to give some of the fans their favorite characters again. All Grown Up was one of them, featuring the babies we once knew, but now in preteen to teen age and dealing with adolescence. Another spin-off that is a lot less known centers around Angelica and Susie in preschool, and it's known as Rugrats Preschool Days. It first aired in the United Kingdom, but only 4 episodes were ever to be made, making it Nickelodeon's shortest series. Fortunately, those 4 episodes are available on iTunes. And last but not least, we got a show that is so obscure it never even made it into production. It was a proposed spin-off in 1999 that focused on Susie Carmichael and her family. The show was supposed to have the Carmichaels move to Atlanta, Georgia. However, that concept was dropped in order to keep the Rugrats growing together. According to a 2014 online article, the babies would now be in their mid-20s.
Hey Arnold, The Batakis. The Batakis was a planned series based on the show Hey Arnold. The show was to star Helga as she goes through her teenage years at the age of 15. In fact, the show was to see the return of all the kids from the original show except for Arnold, who has since moved away. It's often been speculated that Arnold went to go live with his parents in San Lorenzo, though it's unknown if him and Helga's relationship ever happened, or that if it did, then they broke up. According to Craig Bartlett, the creator of Hey Arnold, the script for the pilot was written, but Nickelodeon viewed it as too dark for its intended audience. The series was then offered to MTV, during the time it was airing animated shows like Beavis and Butthead. However, MTV deemed it too similar to another one of their shows, Daria. Since then, the series remained lost in development, and has never came to be.
Thanks a million for watching this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. Big shout out to George for allowing me to co-narrate this list with him. I also make list-based videos over on my channel, DeBurk321, which you can check out if that interests you. The link will be in the description. But that's all for now. See you next time.